Amazing. So, my favorite quote from the book, I'm going to read it, is, "If you persist trying to be all things to all people, you will fail. The only alternative then is to be something important to a few people. And to get there, you must disappoint some slightly engaged normal folks who can live just fine without you." And I find at Cyber PR we represent usually about 100 artists at a time, that there's this fear around disappointing people. There's also a lot of fear around, you call it being weird, around just declaring who you are. So, if you say, oh, I sound like Bob Dylan or I sound like Peter Gabriel, people that don't like those two artists might immediately not like you, and that's okay. How do we overcome our fear of disappointing people?
Well, if you find out, you should tell me, because I have it too. I would start by saying the following. You can never rationalize your way out of fear. I can explain to you all day long that airplane travel is safer than cars, but if you're afraid of being on an airplane, it's not going to help. For me, I think fear of something else helps get rid of the first fear. So if you're afraid of snakes and the dark, but you have to run across a dark room to get away from some snakes, you probably will, because snakes are scarier than the dark. So the message to the musician is you should be more afraid of being obscure. You should be more afraid of being ignored. You should be more afraid of no one ever hearing you than you should be afraid of disappointing a few people. That's number one. The second thing I would propose is something that I've been doing for 2 years, and I'm thrilled. Do not read reviews. Do not let people post comments on your site. If they don't like it, if they don't get the joke, they're dead to you. Move on. There are people out there with an open heart who can't wait to hear from you. You don't need to spend any time with the haters. The haters are going to hate, and it's not your job to make them happy.
I totally agree with that. I always tell artists that I believe that the creative mind will directly fight the marketing mind. And I have a job, and 7 people work for us because people hate marketing, musicians hate marketing so much, they'd rather put that into the hands of other people. And recently, a little bit to our utter dismay, we've started tweeting for people, blogging for people, Facebooking for people, because they refuse to do it and they don't like it. How do you work with, or what do you say to creative types that feel like they're carnival barkers when it comes to marketing, which is now an utter necessity if you're going to make it on any level in today's music industry?
Well, your question is all around one word, which is marketing. Marketing in 1952 meant one thing, and we could all agree what it was: advertising. And if you are one of the Mad Men guys, your job was to put on commercials. It has now become this extraordinarily complicated nest of stuff. And I don't think you can say, I hate marketing or I love marketing, because what is it? Are we talking about spamming? Are we talking about speaking up for what you believe in, or somewhere in between? So what I believe is this. You cannot be a musician and you cannot be an artist until you acknowledge that one of the things you're trying to do is make a dent in the universe, that you're trying to touch people. Otherwise, just play in your garage and never make a record, never put anything out in the world. Well, if you're trying to touch people, guess what marketing is? Marketing is finding out the best way to touch people and to touch them in a way that resonates enough that they tell their friends. So if you insist on outsourcing all of that, what you have to understand is you just hired someone not as good as you to go tell your story. And I'm not buying that. I think that you should look at the new marketing as a chance to be you. And you need to hire someone like Ariel to say, how can you amplify that story I just told? How can you do it in more places, maybe a little louder? How can you take care of the odds and ends? But someone needs to tell a story. And if it's not you, then what are we paying you for?
Right.